Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Jedi Knight of the Woods channel. Paul here again, and slightly off track to the normal things, kit reviews, etc. I thought I would give you another book review, and this time it's going to be on a book called the Cigar Companion, Cigar Afficionado Cigar Companion. As you may or may not know, I do enjoy smoking a good quality premium Cuban cigar. I gave up smoking cigarettes around about a year ago and turned my attention to decent Cuban cigars around about the end of the time I was coming up to the end of my cigarette smoking. And I wanted to just give you a quick overview of this book. It's written by Marvin Shanken, who it's called The Connoisseur's Guide to the World's Best Cigars. I gather Marvin is the creator or editor of the Cigar Afficionado Magazine. Great book. I've read it from cover to cover. Just start off with inside the front page you've got a foreword, if you like. Just sort of going into the price of this book, by the way, is $16.99 in the UK. Or $24.95 in the US. Whether those prices are still current or not, I'm not sure. I think this book's been out quite a while, but goes into a foreword on the front flap there and continued on the back flap about the Cigar Afficionado magazine, etc. And it's pretty comprehensive, I think. It's a really good, as it says, Cigar Companion guide. Starting off with the contents page there. You've got the foreword, the cigar directory, the connoisseurs directory, the story of cigars, the origin of cigar tobacco, the buying and storing of cigars, appendices, glossary and index. And I think this is a pretty good book for those just starting out or any sort of aficionados out there that want a complete view of cigars, how they're made, how they're stored, etc. We go on to, first of all, look at the list of cigars through the book, the cigar directory. It starts off with giving you a little introduction of how to rate cigars. They have a score of 100, and different points are associated with things like the wrapper, the aroma, the first, second, third, thirds. Tasting notes, all those sorts of things. The draw, the oiliness of the wrapper, construction, with an overall score of out of 100 being given for each cigar. A very, very good current cigar is going to score somewhere in the low to mid 90s in all of those sorts of things. So going through this appendix of the cigar directory, you're starting off with Arturo Fuente, moving through the very well known brands like Cohiba, Bolivar first, Cohiba, going on, what have we got there, the Hoyo de Monterrey, moving on to what we've got coming up. And they give you sort of a list of the most popular vitolas, if you like, the different sizes. I mean, there can be a great deal of a range within each of these brand names. It gives you a bit on the history of the organisations, the cigar manufacturers, but also some of the popular sizes, and also the tasting notes that you can expect to get from these particular cigars. So just moving on through here, we're coming up to Ramon Alones, things like Romeo y Julieta, Saint Louis Rey, Sancho Panza, San Cristobal, Santa Damiana. It gives a pretty good idea of quite a few of these brands. Trinidad coming up there, and then going into the connoisseurs directory. This is where you start to find the rare and aged cigars. you know, starting off with some of these on here that have got perfect scores of 100. The vintage cigars that Cigar Aficionado's editors have sort of come across, etc. And the way they score these for this book, they're done blind. It's sort of a blind taste test, if you like, across different people. So the wrappers and bands are removed. So those people that are testing these cigars don't know what actually they're smoking. So they can only go on the you know, the different criteria that they put on these things. So there's some good brands in here as well, the Bolivars, the Partagas, but these are the rare and aged cigars that score very, very highly. Cohiba there, Monte Cristos are in there, Davidoffs, so on and so forth, of different types of vitolas. So moving further on through the book, you've got a section on, there's another sort of connoisseur's directory index there of all those ones we've just had a look at through the pages. I know you can't see these individual, you know, scores or the writing in here, but this is just to give you an idea of what's going on. The story of cigars, a century of cigars, from King Edward VII to Cigar Afficionado Magazine. The discovery of tobacco in the cigar form, some famous smokers such as Winston Churchill, John F. Kennedy, the magazine's first issue, some of the famous people that have been on the front cover of this issue, like Jack Nicholson, Tom Selleck, there's Sylvester Stallone, who else we got? You know, it also gives you an insight into some of the female smokers that you just wouldn't expect. I wouldn't have expected Demi Moore and Sharon Stone to be cigar aficionados particularly, but there they are on the front of the magazine cover, going into a little bit about their stories as well. A few other people. It also gives you some funny anecdotes around cigars, a little bit about the history and the origin of cigar tobacco, Cuba, how the leaves are grown, the circumstances, the soils, the regions. As you'd expect, a little bit about the wrappers, etc., growing tobacco, how to make the cigar. The sort of a description of the cigar smoking experience, you know, one of life's great pleasures, how to hold the cigar, how to light the cigar, considerations for people that don't smoke, of course, as well. You know, that's quite something for a cigar magazine. It goes on to the shapes and sizes, the different shades of wrappers. You know, it's a really kind of comprehensive guide as to how you know, to go about getting into the cigar world. And if you know, if you're an aficionado already, it's just a good read to go through what you sort of probably already know, preparing how to smoke the cigar, cutting tools, all those sorts of things, lighters, to relight or not to relight, choosing the right flame even for lighting a cigar. Comparing the likes of petrol lighters, which you want to avoid, to matches, to gas and butane lighters, and then the importance of buying and how to store cigars, and the importance of humidors with the correct temperatures and humidity levels. You know, and what will happen if you don't store them correctly. Selecting a humidor, what to go for, how to carry cigars in cases, suit fittings even, and then going into the appendices. You know, the one thing I really like about this book is it just takes everything into account. One of the things, you know, you look at something like wine and cheese, and the two complement each other nicely. So generally what cigar smokers tend to do is they tend to match up certain drinks with cigars as well. So it might be whiskies, it might be wines, coffees, rums. Essentially, really what it's all about is just an enjoyment of something that is pretty fine. You know, and there's no real right or wrong way to go about this sort of thing. It's just a case of, you know, do what you enjoy. It's about the enjoyment of the cigar. What's the point in having a cigar with a Scotch whiskey or an Irish whiskey or a coffee if you don't like those things? If you want to time it up with wine, then go ahead and team it up with wine. Whatever your taste buds allow you and enable you to enjoy these things, these cigars, then you've got to go with it. Absolutely. So then right at the back it's got a good glossary, starting with Amarillo, going through Bellicoso, in alphabetical order again, you know, explaining the terms used in smoking, enjoying, construction of fine cigars, and then a bit of an index at the back there. So great book, really enjoyed reading that one, and I hope that gives you an idea, if you want to pick that book up, what to expect from it. Again, I say off stream, guys, but you know, what is essentially a natural product. I love enjoying myself, and the perfect place for me to do that personally is in the woods, out in the wilderness, where I can sit and watch the world go by, peace, quiet, and all that sort of business. So there you have it, guys. Look forward to another video for you soon.